Okay, we're on lesson number 336 of Workbook of A Course in Miracles. Wow, and we're really we're winding down. 365, and the last 5 lessons will all be the same. I believe it's the last 5. But remember, today the contemplation is what is the ego, and of course the antidote, in a sense, if we want to talk about the antidote for the egoic state, is forgiveness, because forgiveness lets us know. Forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined, and of course the egoic state is believing that the projected imagery that manufactures the dream of separation, within which we think we participate as bodies in space and time, is what the ego fosters our belief in the thought that if it keeps us dealing with the problems that separation seems to present, we will never look back within to where the truth of who we are remains as it always has been in creation, and separation is just an idle fantasy within an illusion that has no reality, and in the end, as in the beginning, we'll come to recognize affects us not, and had nothing to do with who we are and who we're created to be. Forgiveness is the means appointed for perception's ending. Knowledge is restored after perception first is changed, and then gives way entirely to what remains forever past its highest reach. And I'm thinking back in my mind and remembering that we've visited this theme before in other lessons, that knowledge is restored. And as a matter of fact, if we looked at, sometimes there's a gentleman called Doctor who's no longer with us, David Hawkins, who postulated these levels of consciousness. And each level of consciousness came along with a set of sort of characteristics, or a way in which the consciousness, having been changed by its experiences, would now encounter reality and then begin to behave appropriately for the level of consciousness that they're at within the conditions and the circumstances when they're at. So if I looked at this in the sense of and Jesus calls it the psyche, the map of psyche, he maps out the psyche of the human psyche of man. When our mind reaches a state, and Jesus refers to it as the peace of God, which passeth understanding, meaning it passeth the ego's ability to understand or operate as a mechanism of identification for you that give you information. So when you reach the peace of God, your mind naturally opens up, and knowledge is restored to your mind because you're welcoming it. The peace of God is the welcoming of the restoration of knowledge to you. It's interesting because we were talking the other day about the age of Aquarius is the opening of the crown chakra of the world, of humanity, which is above, that makes knowledge available to all who can open their crown chakra, open their heart and mind, open their chakra system to that law, to that. That's where the love of God and the laws of the kingdom begin to operate truly and even make sense conceptually to us within our experience here as spatial and temporal. And we begin to utilize them, and we see that the limitations was all self-imposed, because when we begin to utilize the laws of that we were being given to use, things progress and change differently. This is what this is. Knowledge is restored after perception first is changed, and then gives way entirely to what remains forever past its highest reach. For sights and sounds, at best, can serve but to recall the memory that lies beyond them. Forgiveness sweeps away distortions and opens. This is beautiful because it brings to mind. And remember, this is written. One of the things that it is written utilizing Christian terminology because, for a good reason, there are many. Western understanding has been shaped through Christian theology. Okay, Western civilization, from way back when the Roman Empire and the Catholic Church began to operate seemingly as one. Western civilization has been shaped by Christianity and Christian thinking, one way or the other. Okay, whether you're for it or against it. So the symbols, in terms of the words of the Christian language, are words that have come to be accepted. Okay, and what Jesus is doing is utilizing the language, changing the meaning within our heart and mind so as to change the way we think and view what's occurring to us and to bring about a different experience of everything that's occurring. Now, many of us who have been part of different Christian organized religions remember the idea of like certain feasts such as Easter when the altars were covered with lilies. And this hearkens to that. Forgiveness sweeps away distortions and opens the hidden altar to the truth. Its lilies shine into the mind and call it to return and look within to find what it has vainly sought without. Exactly. At some point in time, your mind will give up the search for what it thinks it needs and has been looking for outside of itself simply because it has exhausted itself and exasperated itself by its inability to find it. And in that moment of break, give yourself a break, that break from the routinization and the habituation of seeking outside of yourself, that break when you need do nothing and actually do nothing allows the Holy Spirit to enter in and begin to show you that what you actually sought was within you and waiting there. And now the mind training and the desire and the motivation to begin to learn to look within. Of course, one of the things, one of the major problems is the attempt to utilize the same eyes that you seem to look without, seem to look around outside of you, to look within. That's why Jesus begins to discuss the idea of a spiritual eye, that we reawaken to the light, and it is that eye which looks in, and it is that eye that gives us the vision, the interior vision, the interior light, the fortitude, everything that comes with that light that allows us to begin to make manifest in the world that which we are learning in the vision within our heart and mind that we're receiving. For here and only here is peace of mind restored, for this, the dwelling place of God himself. Yes, it is indeed. The joy of that discovery within your own heart and mind when you finally go past all perception and you're into the inner sanctum where we all are joined with the one light, within the oneness of the light of our Father Creator, our Source. If you've not had that experience, there is nothing in this world to compare it to. And in fact, everything in this world, you notice, has been was subject to the utilization of the addictive and habituated mind identifying with the ego, which is why ultimately the idea of giving up the world in its entirety or losing the world of all you thought it would be, while you could never come up with all you thought it could be as a series or delineation of thoughts. You could make the decision based on all you thought it was, all you thought it could be, and the recognition that there's something more or other that's totally different. The willingness applied right there would bring about the light experience. True willingness to loose the world from all you thought it was. Not to figure out what you thought it was, but the recognition that all you thought it was didn't make a difference. I want to loose the world from it. In quiet, may forgiveness wipe away my dreams of separation and of sin. Of course, forgiveness lets me know that minds are joined. When we know that minds are joined, the natural function of being a miracle worker in space and time becomes our new occupation, because the recognition that minds are joined is the opening for you to be available in a condition or a situation in space and time to allow your mind to be open to a triangulation with the light above as it enters into the minds of brothers simultaneously, for an experience of recognition of not only that minds are joined theoretically in an experience, a transcendent experience, but it's the recognition that right here in space and time, our minds are already joined with our brothers, with specific individuals who perhaps we thought were our enemies. That's the benefit. The atonement is a chain, an interlocking chain of forgiveness, an interlocking chain of miraculous occurrences where men recognize their oneness with each other, and therefore they are welcomed back into the oneness of the kingdom, because they're one and the same thing, as above, so below, as within, so without. Then let me, Father, look within and find your promise of my sinlessness is kept. Your word remains unchanged within my mind. Your love is still abiding in my heart. And you can learn, I was thinking about that, I'm getting ready to go away for a little while. So I've been busy for the last few days, and I had some friends that have been coming and going, people, well, and I finally just shut everything off, set the lesson up on the screen, and let the quiet overtake me, and the joy and the release of the tension of the human existence just naturally floats away. And there you are in stillness, where the presence can become part of your conscious awareness, and the power and light of your soul can begin to re-enter into the memory of who you are. I was just talking about there's a present memory that's beyond all memories, both past and future, since all time's going on all the time, as we're talking about. There's a memory that's beyond all of our memories, and yet we use the distortion of the memories of space and time, both past and future, to keep us from going far back enough. Jesus used to tell Helen, you haven't gone far back enough. Step back, take another step back. Let it catch up with you. Take a moment, let it catch up with you. Feel the joy of the moment. Okay. Remember, you couldn't possibly be dreaming a dream of separation without having been created whole and perfect by God and awake. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to have a dream. So the fact that you're dreaming is actually good news when looked at correctly, because now you can look at the dream correctly and correctively utilize it for the healing of your own heart and mind and the restoration of your connection with your Father and the ability to be the extension of His love as love itself.